Welcome, Illini fans. Welcome to Sunday Night Slow Jams with Baghead and your boy Ryan Schroep. That's a good one. Kev didn't even tell me he was going to do that. It's Sunday night, and you know what that means.
It means I got a brown grocery sack on my head like the Saints fans from like the 70s and 80s because
Hey,
this
is Mike Ditka coaching you guys, Kev?
Oh, God bless America.
So, obviously, I set you up for the Abe Lincoln at the theater, Miss Lincoln, whatever joke I give you. How have you been, Kev? But I know how you've been, and I know how all you Illini fans have been. We've been suffering for about 8 days now since the 16-point blown lead against Michigan State, where that spiraled into Marez Johnson's broken wrist, which has spiraled into another illness for Tomislav Ivicic, a 21-point loss to Wisconsin, which then spiraled, Kevin, into a marquee matchup that was supposed to put a nice light shine on the Illinois program. And what happened there? The worst loss in the history of a storied program. And honestly, Kevin, some of the most abysmal defense I've ever seen. There was a lot of guys who covered the game watching that, and they were just saying how embarrassing of a defensive performance it was. It wasn't even the 0 for 16 3-point that we saw in the first half. It was like just pathetic. Like
got a lot better in the second half. They were 2 of 10. So
yeah. Oh, there's always there. Trust me, I was getting to the plus side.
20% plus, yeah.
Yeah, I was getting. I mean, you can't get worse than 0 for 16, Kev. I guess. I mean, 0 for 17, right? Or how about 0 for 19, like they did against Michigan State? So they were just saying how it was the most embarrassing defense they've seen in a long time, and a lot of that, I think, is on the shoulders of the players, Kev, and I'm going to let you take the floor for this week. We're not going to beat up Brad Underwood for 15 minutes. But at the end of the day, if you're a defensive-minded coach, right, Kevin, and Brad Underwood preaches, you're going to play D or you're not going to play. And then you've seen Illinois' defense, which was, top 10 at some point this year?
Uh-huh.
Now it's 39th, Kev.
It's 200 and something since February started.
Okay. So that ends at the bottom line, though, Kev. That falls on Brad Underwood. So
damn right it does.
If you can't get your players to play, and you talk a big game of you're not going to play defense, you're not going to play. Well, they're playing, and none of them want to play. Okay, I would say a couple guys try to play D, but you can't have majority of your team not wanting to play D. So, Kev, I just gave everybody a nice 8-day synopsis of where we're at. And then we set up for a must-win against Iowa Tuesday. So you can take the floor. Tell us how you're doing, Kev.
Dude, it's my wife, she's not she's not into it. Illinois basketball that much when she doesn't have like a lot of identification with the players. Like she was really into like the 04-05 team and before that she loved Brian Cook. And so she was like, I'll come watch the Duke game with you. And she's like, you're not even mad. I'm like, I think I share what Illini Silverback said. It's just like sadness right now. It's just so there's a couple things that the defense is atrocious, right? I thought the offense is actually doing some things other than making shots, right? And that's
give me Brad Underwood's favorite quote from his pressers. Which is this. Here we go, Kev. You ready? I mean, we're running good stuff. We got open shots. We're just not making them. How many? If you've heard that saying once, Kev, and I gave you a nickel for every time you heard that this year.
Yeah, it's really frustrating because like I remember there were a couple times in the first half we got the ball with the wide open guy in the middle of the paint, and then they didn't know what to do. Rickhouse was one of them. And I know I've been a defender in some of the Twitter channels that we're on of Rickhouse. He's got to be like the 7th, 8th guy on his team. He can't play starters minutes. It's just abysmal right now. And I think the reason why the starting lineup was as it was against Duke is because Duke has so much positional size. I would have liked to seen DGL in the starting lineup, but you needed Kylan's defense, so you had to start KJ, Kylan, and DGL. They're just way too big for that. So I think that was the challenge there. The other aspect about it is this team is, with the way that they're playing in drop coverage, they're flat out not athletic enough to do it, right? And so that's a roster construction problem, and that falls on Brad's shoulders. He put together a team to stretch the floor, shoot threes. We thought we were going to be a bad defense. Somehow, some way early in the season when we weren't, we're not athletic enough. We're getting beat around the corner. And then and the way that we were able to build a top 10 defense is that every freaking rebound. And now we're getting beat on the boards. It's 3 straight games we've got to beat on the boards. And so what happens is we got guys turning this corner in this drop coverage, and you got Tommy coming over to help out because it's the only big we have now in the moment. And so when he comes off of his man to go help contest the shot, we saw this with Duke a lot. They missed it. They got a dunk or a putback. And it's just and then the wheels just start. And then it couples it up with, like, if you're going to miss threes and not get offensive rebounds, which we were doing earlier in the season. So it's really got to be a situation where, like, I don't think this team from a roster construction perspective is built to run the systems that we're running, especially defensively. It just doesn't look like it. Sleeve, you might know more about the aspects of basketball than me, and I've never coached a game of basketball in my life. That's what it seems like to me, is like we're getting beat around corners, and that seems like an athletic. It was just more evidence against Duke. I know we love to run guys off the 3-point line. It's just they got to change something, man. It is broken, and it's on Brad, and it's on his rotations and who he's playing. And frankly, this is my thing for Illinois right now. Where I'm at is you're not allowed to wear the Fighting Illini jerseys because you got no fight in you. You got, like, and that's on the players too. Like, there's
that, Kev. I like that.
Don't, you're going to wear a Fighting Illini jersey and disrespect the name of this university because you got the team name and you don't fight? Like, no, man, I'm not cool with that. So it's challenging, you know. I mean, I think we got guys like DGL that play with some heart. I thought Kasparis played with some heart.
And Kev too. I don't want to interrupt, but I have to interject. People were shitting on KJ and a lot of the channels and chats I'm on. Like, for God's sake,
I started ignoring.
Yeah, he was finding open guys. They're just not making shots. I mean, like, he had a couple bad turnovers, but considering he wasn't bad. Like,
no, he wasn't.
He was taking it to the rim, got fouled, made all his free throws, had a nice like mid-range pull-up fadeaway in the lane. Like, he had both of his threes that they looked like they were going down, you know.
I know. Yeah.
And it's like they just don't go down. And so, but that's not his game anyways, to just shoot tons of threes. He tries to set up the team, and guys just don't make anything. And a couple of those dives you were talking about, Kev, guess what? Those are buckets for most teams. You know, when you hit Ben Hummerkaus in stride right before the free throw line,
just go dunk the damn thing.
Instead, he's like, who can I pass it to?
Right.
And it's like, dude, whoa. And then he hit Tommy in stride. And guess what Tommy does? Fumble, lose it away. And I will say this, Tomislav, I can't belittle, not belittle.
He's playing. I think the 15 pounds is making a difference.
Yes.
He's getting bullied. And
but he's also still not, his ankle is still not right. He cannot get off. He does not jump for rebounds, if you notice. There's a reason that he's not coming down with, like, some of those that you're like, what's going on here? Like, he's still blocking shots because he's 7'1" and got long arms. He had 3 blocks against Duke. But some of those rebounds where you're like, bro, you're stiff as a board, it's because he's not even jumping at all. So his ankle is still a problem, but you have to play. He has to play.
Yeah, and like Nathan Durst, our good friend, said, if you shoot threes, you got to get offensive rebounds, and they're not. So it's just one of those things that
Zach Hamer's running the D, Miller, by the way.
Yeah.
And I want to say this, Illini Silverback, Brad's not wrong for saying we're getting open shots, correct. But every game we're getting open shots and don't make them. So maybe let's stop taking these, they're not going to make them. So
if you're not making threes, if you're not stretching the floor offensively, then you have to be getting downhill consistently. And to get downhill consistently, you got to have guys who can put the ball on the floor and go around guys, or you've got to scheme it up. And they just haven't been able to do. They're not athletic enough to do it. So
I will say this. So Sleeve Nash says, you don't you play drop when you don't have an athletic team. I don't agree with that, but Illinois plays drop with Merez and Tomislav. Merez is athletic. So, if that's the case, then they're not doing what they should be. But I think that's just what Brad wants to do because they want to force mid-range jump shots,
Yeah, absolutely. And I'm with that. But then again, we started the game out and Sion James got 3 open threes, wide open. He made 2 of them.
And by the way, Kev, that guy shoots a career 38% three-point shooter. So.
I know. So I had to look it up. I was like, I thought Sion James could shoot. Are we dorking him? Like, he would not dork a career 40%, almost 40% three-point shooter. So it was blown assignments. Like, it's got to be some effort or things like that. So it's frustrating, man.
Yeah. So, I was listening to Brad's post game, and of course, I'm glad that he was the most perturbed and angry he's been all year. Because the thing was, Kev, like last year, we saw him bitter and angry a few times before they started getting rolling. So, the whole fart noise that you made, like and people are saying, like, on my video rant I went on, I'm not saying he needs to come out and call players like pieces of shit and shit. It's like, call out what is happening out there that's not that, like, the guard play needs to be doing better at this. Like, we need better penetration from.
And you got to play the guys. And you know what? And if he plays DGL 20 minutes and he fouls out, that's fine. You just do it. He'll play the guys that are going to go out there and hustle and will play with some heart, man.
And then, like, he just, and like, the whole political correctness. It's like they were asking him about Booth. I actually like, because non-Illinois media was asking him the tough questions, which I was actually happy. He could tell he was getting pissed because someone was like, I was watching Kerry Booth earlier. Like, why don't you play him more? It's like, even though Kerry Booth may not be the best player on the team, like he's one of the last guys. He's like, well, you got nobody else down low, but you're playing Ben Hummerkaus all these minutes. He's like, is Kerry Booth that bad? Basically, is what the New York, whoever the fucking guy was, the media asked Brad. Right. He was so mad because Illinois media would never say that. So, because they have to deal with Brad every day. So it was really good to hear other media say, like, why do you refuse to, like, play Kerry Booth much? Like, you did today a little bit, but I've looked at his minutes. You can't get anything out of Ben Hummerkaus these games, but yet you refuse to play anybody else. Is there a reason for that? And he's just like, he got so mad. And I was just like, it was about time someone said that. It's like, make him get a little uncomfortable. It's time for
he looks uncomfortable on the floor, though, doesn't he? I mean, he looks awkward. He doesn't move well. Like,
he is awkward, but at the end of the day, this Ben Hummerkaus, I said this, Ben Hummerkaus will give you one good game out of his 4 or 5. You're gonna see, like, you look at USC was really good. He was pretty decent. He was decent against Wisconsin, but that was
10 first half points. He was pretty solid for us there.
And then you
score maybe.
Yeah. So he didn't record a stat, Kev, Ben Hummerkaus, until the 11-minute mark of the second half. And he played 30 minutes and he gave Illinois, I think, 1 rebound, I believe. Yeah. Nothing else.
And I love Dre, and I love what Dre does for Cindy. He's our guy, and I love that he plays fearless, but he didn't do anything other than 8 points either. No rebounds, no assists, and turnover.
Well, I can tell you this. I mean, of the 8 I'll take 8 points. I mean,
you
can't score when you can't score.
And you can't. And Ben was getting destroyed on defense. So,
and I will say this: the Merez Johnson thing can't be an excuse for the team, to just be obliterated on the glass. And here's why, Kev. He was barely getting to play earlier in the year, right?
Yep. He was playing 10 to 12 minutes early in the season when we were like 12-3, so it's
and here's what I'm noticing. And there is a lot going on behind the scenes, but it's up to Brad to rein them in. Okay. You got to rein them in and focus. It doesn't matter what you might do in the portal or what you're unhappy with in your future career. You're here now. And what happens with this Illinois team is still going to have some sort of effect, even a little bit, on the rest of their college career or their pro career. Because when things get down, and this just shows you what type of man you are. Okay,
they got four guaranteed games left.
So this is part of dealing with trials and tribulations. For anyone, it doesn't matter if it's KJ, it doesn't matter if it's Trey White, Merez, Booth, whoever, Ben Hummerkaus, who, he's a believer just like me and you are. But this is a trial for him. It's like, how do you respond? And it shouldn't be, it's just a game of basketball, so it doesn't matter. You're still in the middle of this. And by the way, Ben Hummerkaus is getting 6 figures, by the way, to play on this team. So you're getting paid to play. So it's time to put your best foot forward. And we know that these guys can play better than that, Kevin. Right. Like it's not like what we saw against Oregon, what we saw against Indiana, what we saw against Missouri, what we saw against Arkansas, what we saw against UCLA. It's in there. Okay. So it shouldn't be a 10% of the time we can do it, 90% we can't. I love what you said about the Fighting Illini thing on the jersey, because if you can't, I texted, some of my sources with the staff and the team and the program, I said, if you can't get up for this game, then they might as well stay their ass on the bench, and I said that before the game. And just seeing how many of those guys were out there just careless. Like, I know Jake Davis, here's an example. You can't dribble the ball around and then step out of bounds. You know what I'm saying? Just dumb stuff like that, like careless, like you could care less. That was one example of like a dude. It's like, what are we doing here? And then you let the Duke bench in these like dudes that are going, to be, NASA scientists coming in and hitting threes in your face. Our walk-ons can't even hit a free throw. You got AJ Red missed 4 fucking free throws. Okay, 4 in a row. And
I know that don't. I mean,
I'm just saying though, that goes to show you
that's a positive that AJ Red got to play.
That's a mentality thing, though. You can tell, dude.
No, it's what David French says. This team is playing a little scared, right? It takes tough confidence to make shots. It does, and I think this team is sorely lacking that.
Yeah, and that's what I'm saying here. It's a morale thing. I'm not talking about AJ Red as he can't make a shot. He's not making them because their mind is somewhere else. It's not confident. I think it's the morale on this team's not good. The cohesion's not good. And here's the biggest question, Kev. Who's the leader?
I don't know.
Yeah. That's the biggest question for the team. And
I mean, honestly, you would like to say it's Kaspareris, but it's not. I don't know if it's young or bigger dreams or whatnot. You'd like it to be Kylan Boswell.
I heard Brad in the post-game press conference say, like, Boswell's trying. He's trying to be vocal. I guess Tommy was before he got mono. He is one of the older guys on the team. He's 21, but this is still new to him too. But, Boswell's been there, done that. He's been on number 1 seeds. He's been to a Sweet 16. Ben Hummerkaus has never played at this level before. I know he's an old guy, but you can't rely on a guy who's never been in these big moments. Kylan Boswell has. Dre, I think, can be. He's still young and just like Boswell and was on a team last year and knows the culture of this program. But it's hard to lead when you're being tossed around kind of like, with the flavor of the month. And I think that's what's been unfair to Dre Gibbs Lawhorn is it's like, hey, man, you're really good for us. Okay, great. Oh, hey, you're going to start this game. Oh, but that's just to shake up the team. I don't care how well you play in a game, you're not starting the next game. And you might only play 3 minutes, and then be like, hey, well, we really need you now against Duke. So, and you played pretty well for the most part, but we're going to play you more against Iowa Tuesday. And so it really doesn't matter what you do Tuesday. You might not play Sunday against Michigan. And if I was Dre, I wouldn't like it either.
We get it, SDR. You don't like Brad Underwood. He just resurrected a dead program into being nationally relevant. Won a Big Ten title. Won a Big Ten tournament title. Won 2 Big Ten tournament titles.
Yeah,
took us to an Elite Eight. Like he just made us nationally relevant. He sucks. Sure.
The dude's wrote
long for John Gross in the last 5 years of Bruce Weber. Cool.
I will say this.
Let's move on.
Yes, I wasn't even addressing it. The dude's wrote a book over there about Brad. Like,
you don't like him. Fine, I get it. Cool. Move on. I think I think I want to move on to Iowa because like we could beat this dead horse. This team has to get some fight into them. What is the crowd going to be like on Tuesday night?
Hopefully not. Was it apathetic?
I mean, is there going to be any? I mean, at least it's Iowa. At least it's a game we should care about.
Yeah, against Iowa, it's orange out. You know, it's an 8:00 tip. I think the fact it is a must win. I think there's enough Illinois fans that just go to the games to try to have a good time. That there'll be a good crowd. Maybe I don't know if it'll be a sellout or not. I know. I mean, it hadn't been before, but it is Iowa.
It is technically a sellout, though, isn't it?
I mean, I don't know. I thought there were still tickets available. I saw the buy ticket deal just yesterday on social media. Buy this many tickets.
Well, and the thing is, you're playing an Iowa team who can't guard, but they can score. And so
this is going to be a game where Illinois should win 85-75 or 90-80.
It might be Minnesota next year, but that take more shots being made by us. But it's like, dude, I'm worried about it. I don't know.
I don't know who's SDR on. This is the only thing I'm going to say. I don't know who's kissing Brad's butt on here. I can tell you that. I don't know if you actually watch the show and listen to anything.
Oh, it's me. I've been the biggest Brad homer,
but you don't just kiss his ass.
Well, okay. I said it's on him. It's on him from a roster construction standpoint. It's on him from a style of play. I said he's got to adjust. I said that his in-game adjustments have been lacking. I've always said that. I think he does good job adjusting from season to season.
I think Sleeve Nash is Tyler Underwood's burner, but it's all right.
And then the challenge. Well, and then I mean I know that people are mad that Tyler Underwood and Jacob Hamner are where they are at, but yeah. Well, neither one of those guys have won a Big Ten title either, SDR. So call me when that happens. Neither one of them have made an Elite Eight. Call me when that happens. Cool. Brad Underwood had Illinois as a 6th seed in his 3rd season. This is Shauna Green's 3rd season. They won't be a 6th seed. So
boy Barry here makes a good point though. Not wanting him fired doesn't make you a homer. I will say this. After last year's season, and if they make the tournament this year, which they more than likely are, that's not grounds to be fired. Like when you're starting to not make the tournament, give me a call.
And SDR, anytime you want to bang heads with me about Bruce Weber's record versus Brad Underwood's, I'm glad to do it. Anytime.
Sleeve.
I'd love to coach after Bill Self and get Bill Self's guys compared to John Gross's guys.
Yeah.
Any day.
It was me, and I'm kidding. I just saw you said, "Hey, Dre was."
Hey, and listen, we said it all along this season. Continuity was going to be a problem. Not only was continuity going to be a problem because you have so many new guys, then we got the Tim Anderson stuff thrown in us at the start of the season. By the way, from what I understand, it's not really on Brad. By the way, you can put the blame somewhere else. You can figure that out on your own. I think it resolves with Tim Anderson and one other person. You figure that out, right? So now you're short-staffed to coach. You couldn't find one in enough time. So you don't have your 3 main coaches. You have to use these guys who are a little bit more than grad assistants. And that's where it's at. So, and that's why they're having to do this. So now you have a continuity problem with coaching and with players. And then by the time you start to find yourself as a team, you get hit with the nasty injury bug where they've had no breaks. Like, it's a lot of things that have blown up in their face, but Brad's got to fix it. It's a problem. Yeah. They lose to Iowa, we're not going to the tournament. I think if they lose out, they're out.
Yeah, if they lose out, it's going to be one of those sweating your ass off, maybe play a playing game shit. And why does that have to be that way? When literally, think about this. When they were –
I was hoping for a 3 seed a month ago.
Yeah, the odds of Illinois after beating UCLA, losing out, Kevin, were so – probably have been like 2% maybe, right? it's just wild.
Hey, dude, it's the curse of the upside down Terrence Shannon jersey, because since that happened, his team has played like absolute shit.
No, and I really
absolute shit.
People are saying that was a sabotage on purpose. By the way,
by who? For what? To do what?
They think that there was some sort of, I don't know if Michigan inside some inside job thing where maybe someone working for the University of Illinois who you can work for a university and not go there. You know what I mean?
Hey Trent, they can't bring in 2 big time assistants for Tyler and Hamner. There's one assistant to replace Tim Anderson. Those guys are in positions that they are. I know everybody wants to shit on Tyler Underwood, that they are technically qualified for. It's like an elevated grad assistant, and it's a full time. I don't think they can recruit at that position. So 5 years ago, 5 years ago, those positions weren't even around, or it might have been 3 years ago. They made this change. Like you had three assistant coaches and grad assistants. And then the NCAA opened up 2 positions for slightly elevated grad assistants. So, and then Barry, I said that Gentry's a dick. Like nobody liked. I mean, he was not well liked by anybody.
Look at Nathan. I told you. Look what Nathan said.
What's the purpose? Why would who would sabotage it? Why would this? Oh,
so I'm saying. Well, this is what I'm saying. That the people, a guy or the people who
didn't want Terrence's jersey hung.
He didn't want it hung, and they were pissed off about how he wasn't able to get into Michigan, and how if he would never have came to Illinois otherwise, he didn't deserve his jersey hung. It doesn't matter the reason, but the fact that people work at the University of Illinois doesn't mean they're Illini alums. And obviously, as much as we love Josh Whitman, he just assumed whoever at State Farm Center that was in charge of all that knows how to hang a jersey, right? So they didn't even look at it. So you think about this. They had to lower that down, and the people have the banner that was made. You don't think – shouldn't someone have been watching from afar maybe? The supervisor, yes. You know what I'm saying? Hey, let's see if this is hung correctly before you cover it up and lift it into the sky. You know what I'm saying? How many people have to fuck that up?
I admire Terrence in the way that he's handled it. Talked to my mom before the show tonight, and she said she's got her upside down sweatshirt, so that's cool.
Anyway, Brad. So the thing we're getting off topic here about Brad and not coaching here in this chat here. The only way Brad's not coaching at Illinois next year is if he were to take the Texas job. I can't take a bet like that, SDR. That's such a cop out. You got to tell me he's fired in the next 2 seasons, because if he takes a big boy job, that's not. I can't say. Tyler Underwood, stop it, sleeve, quit. Flat Earth guy. I'm not talking conspiracies. I'm telling you what I've heard, and that's really cost Illinois. It's that whole bullshit. Illinois has gone downhill.
The sage burning and the Terrence Shannon jersey upside down. Dude, it feels like a clown program right now, and that does rest on Brad, and he's got to fix that. We lost by 60 some points this week. It is highly embarrassing. There was no fight since the halftime of the Michigan State game, and even leading up to at the end of the first half. This team is, if you look at what Illinois has been outscored since they were up, what was it, 32-15 against Michigan State or whatever, 31-15. Yeah. They go look at what this team's been outscored since then. It is flat out freaking embarrassing. And I hope there's an ounce of pride, or somebody can galvanize this team in the locker room. Turn the dog loose, do whatever, change it up. You've got to do something different, because Iowa can flat out score. If you can't guard them, you're going to be in a world of hurt.
And I don't want to hear that. There's no way you let Dix or Sanford get off on your ass. There's no way. Guess what?
Run a triangle and 2 on them if you guys. I don't know. Just do something different. They have to, but they don't have a lot of time to do it. That's a little bit of a challenge. Then you go to Michigan. Was it Saturday? So they go to Michigan Sunday.
They're going to get time between Iowa and Purdue the next Friday that they play 1 game in a 10-day stretch.
Yeah, they play 2 games over 15 days, and then you throw in another 4 or 5 days. We played Purdue on a Thursday.
You played Purdue on a Friday night.
So then we got a lot of time between them, the Big Ten tournament too. So maybe they could throw some wrinkles in and figure some things out.
Yeah.
So we'll lose to Iowa. What? I'm not doing the show on Sunday, Steve. I told Ryan I didn't want to do the show tonight.
You're not doing the show when?
It's Sunday night if we lose to Iowa.
Okay.
I'm done. I quit. I don't want to talk about it. We'll talk football recruiting. Nothing but.
I want to say this. This is what's going to happen. I want you guys to know this. McCaffrey has done this shit to Illinois before. Read that right there.
Iowa play zone.
Iowa.
I'll take that bet, G. Iowa will play
Iowa
zone.
will play. To focus on that, Kev. Iowa's going to play zone. They will.
Yeah. And we might make shots because they're not that. I think it's athletic teams that give us trouble shooting. But then again, we shot well from 3 against Alabama. We shot well from 3 against Arkansas. I don't know.
So I'm just saying though. So I'm just thinking, Fran McCaffrey is a guy, intelligent coach in the sense of when he sees a team is really struggling with something. I know it's mind blowing, right, Kev? He will make the team that they're playing do that. So if you were coaching against Illinois, Kev, and Illinois, let's see, what they miss against 0 for 19 in the second half. What we shoot against Wisconsin, not great. And then what we do against
30.
Okay, so what would you do if you knew Illinois was struggling to shoot, but not really to drive and score? Because you saw Illinois go 15 for 18 in the paint against Duke in the first half, but you couldn't throw a freaking dart, on a board as big as your wall there. What would you do? What would make sense? Would playing zone make sense?
It would. It absolutely would, especially it make
a 1-3-1 not your typical 2-3. The 1-3-1. And I'm telling you guys right now, Tuesday night, watch what's going to happen. He won't start out in zone, but by the middle of that first half, if let's say we're up by 8, watch what's going to happen. We're going to play zone, right, and we're going to act like we've never seen it. We're going to be like, what's going on? I can't run. Guess what? Can't run pick and roll that well.
Yep.
Can't run that ball screen action that well. And guess what? That's where KJ's comfortable. And that's what worries me is because I know Iowa will do that. And they've done it to Illinois before.
When Ben Humrackhouse has hit 6 threes, he falls back into my good graces at least a little bit.
I know, probably worrying people now. They're like, oh, my God, they're going to play zone. But, yeah, they will. They're trying to make the Big Ten tournament, guys. They're not going to make the NCAA tournament. But they want to give themselves a shot to make the Big Ten tournament. And you can't do that if their schedule's tough to end the year. So they got to do that. Yeah, Nathan's trying to talk freaking football with us. Look at him.
I don't blame him, man. It's a better thing to talk about right now. So I'm crazy optimistic always about my sports teams, right? And it's a weird thing. I do think they could figure some things out, man. I think at the end, a little bit of those long stretches, they might be able to figure something out. Maybe just get a little bit of confidence, just get a little bit of swag, and I still think this team can figure something out. The concern and that's more offensively. The concern I have with this team is defensively. I don't know what they need to do. So. Yeah, Barry said KJ hasn't looked comfortable in 2 to 4 weeks. Yeah, with the exception of that little run he had against
a 2-game stretch against Minnesota,
and UCLA, and he was decent against Michigan State. He was decent against Duke.
He was decent against Duke. He wasn't all world, but for goodness sake, man, look at the guy's numbers. What was he like? 14, 7 rebounds, like 4 assists on a team that was 0 for. That was 2 for 26 from deep. I mean, where's he supposed to get his assists at?
It's a challenge, but yes. Hey, it is what it is. So
yes, Sleeve. If we make the Sweet 16, do we call it a good season? Yes. All right. Now, Kevin can disagree. Anytime you make the second weekend, I feel like it was a good season.
It'll be a lot of fun. Because there'll have to be a major upset in there in the round of 32, which will be a lot of fun. But
yeah. All right. So we're gonna go to something that does make Kev happy, and we're going to talk some Illini golf. What do you say? Huh?
Well, I mean, it is still kind of technically Illini golf. I was a little bit going to save it for my final thoughts, but I think it needs to be a little bit bigger than that.
Here we go. You tell me if you agree with this or not. Tell me if you agree with this title here, Kev.
All right.
So, here we go. 3, 2, 1.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah, and it's. I don't think it's particularly close. Like it's going to look at. You're going to look at. You got to look at there's actual built-in disadvantages for his program. The only other coach that deals with the built-in disadvantages for his program are the softball and baseball coaches, right? Dan Hartlib and I forgot who's coaching softball.
Tara.
Yeah. Right, yeah. It's. Mike Small coaches a golf program in the northern part of the United States. And you look at us and we are consistently going to NCAA tournaments, NCAA regionals, final eights, and you never see a team. The only northern teams you ever see up there are the Pacific Northwest, which is different because it's just better weather. They don't have nearly the winter that we do. And for him to churn out these teams that he's doing, and for him to have 2 of his players win PGA tournaments in 3 weeks, it's nuts. And so what happened today was so special. Brian Campbell played with Thomas Dietrich and Thomas Peters back at Illinois, was part of the team that won the 5th straight Big Ten title in 2013. He made his PGA Tour card in like 2015 to 2017. He has never won a professional tournament. He lost his professional tour card back in 2017, and then went to the Korn Ferry Tour and some other tours trying to find his way. He had a resurgence last year on the Korn Ferry Tour and got his PGA Tour card for this season. Had only made 1 cut this year. He not only made the cut at the Mexico Open this weekend, but he won. He won in a playoff. He birdied the 20th hole today, the 74th hole of the tournament, to beat this upstart guy. The crazy thing about it was they had to play the par 5 twice. This dude is consistently 40 yards longer than Brian Campbell. And he tied him on the first par 5 and then beat him on the second one. And so what that means for a guy like Brian Campbell, he is exempt. He is on tour until 2027. He gets invited to signature events. He's going to the Masters. He's going to the TPC. He won $1 million today. It's just an incredible day for Brian Campbell. For like a guy at 31 who had been through what he had been through, probably steps away from the game. I'm not bagging on Scott Langley, who won a national championship at Illinois, but he walked away at this point. Dylan Meyer walked away at this point. You might see some other guys that we know, like Pearson Hunt and Tommy Cool, who are struggling a little bit, that might walk away. Michael Fiegels. But Brian Campbell, the stick-to-itiveness to do that. And yes, Barry, he did have a crazy bounce out of the trees. He got really lucky. But I also think the other guy caught some breaks too. But the thing about it is to catch a break like that, he hit the first wayward drive I saw him hit all weekend, hits off the trees, bounces into the rough. For the way he rebounded with an unbelievable approach.
He meant to do that, Barry.
Got him to 70 yards, and then he stuck the 70-yard shot to the 3.5 feet from the pin. Birdied out. It's just really awesome. Hey, you got to take advantage of breaks when you get them in golf, man. Sometimes you get bad ones. Sometimes the ball hits a sprinkler head and screws you over. Sometimes it hits off a tree and backs your back end. So super, super happy for Brian Campbell.
Yeah, so I wanted to there's a lot of really good things going on around the other sports programs at Illinois and things that I care about too. Like, I love Illini baseball, dude. They're the Big Ten champs. Like, I'm glad they started out strong, man. I think they're
Dan Hartlow's a great guy. I hung out with him down in Orlando. I'm pulling for that. I would have been down there this weekend, but I had other obligations. So
yeah, that is true, Barry. Better to be lucky than good. And right now, Illinois hoops has no luck, and we need some for sure. But so baseball team's 4-2. They won their first 2 series. They beat Texas State today, who's projected to be an NCAA tournament team. So they took 2 out of 3 from them. There was a doubleheader today that they won the back end of that. They won game 1 Friday, and then they lost game 2 today at noon, and then they won the nightcap. So 4-2 start, off to a good start. They go to Vegas now, where they're in like a big Vegas challenge, where they have a lot of the teams that all won their conferences last year, I believe, are all playing each other in like kind of like a round robin thing. So Illinois getting to be in that's a big deal. I think like Tennessee or something's in it. I'm trying to think I got to remember who they're playing, but they're playing an NCAA tournament champion from conference champion from last year, I believe. Let's see. Jay Bagan says Terrence Shannon Jr. has 7 points in 8 minutes tonight against he goes after OKC though, Kev. Like,
I know they're in Oklahoma City tomorrow night. I didn't know if I was going to go to the game because I wasn't sure if the guys got healthy, if Terrence was going to come back, but I've got other things going.
Oh, you see that, Kev? He's going to be
yeah, dude. I tell you this: if we're talking a little bit of golf, SDR says he's going to Las Vegas next week. He's thinking about going. Dude, going to a college golf event if you have a team to pull for is actually really pretty cool. SDR, put on some Illini swag. If you haven't done it, you probably already have. But for other folks, if you get a chance to go do it, probably not when they're playing at Atkins, but if you're on the road somewhere, dude, Mike Small's come up and talked to me at every event that I've ever been to. Luke Guthrie, when he was coaching, come up. The families I got to walk with Tommy Cool's family, walk with Dylan Myers' family, walk with Nick Hardy's family. And they're just like they're just really cool people. I got to meet Jake Birdwell a couple years ago. He's on the team now. This is a lot of fun. And so you get a lot of more access than you would think.
So,
no, Nathan Durst, we don't get lucky bounces in basketball like Brian Campbell got today. The Isaiah Evans shit-talking dickweed from Duke throws up a ball that hits flat off the back iron and somehow rolls in. But Rickhouse's ball stayed on the rim for 10 minutes and can't go in.
Yeah, and if you not notice all the other threes that go out.
Oh, good luck. We had 3 in and outs in the first half, but that still wouldn't have mattered. Yeah. I didn't expect to win Saturday. I didn't expect.
I expected it to be under 20. I
expected to be competitive.
Yeah, I wanted to.
The Sharps were honest. The Sharps were putting money on us.
Yeah, we let everybody down. That's for damn sure. The team did, not we per se. So now let's flip the switch though. Let's stay basketball, but let's go to the women's side, Kev. What Shauna Green
fought their ass off this week. Man.
What Shauna Green is doing with a 6-woman rotation and playing against the best of the best. I just want everybody to know that it's not like, oh, they beat Nebraska, so wow, they had a 6-woman rotation. No, they're in the best league in college hoops. Okay, you got 3 of the top 10 teams in the country. You've got probably 6 top 25 teams. You've got still like teams like Iowa, Indiana are not ranked yet. They're perennial, really good teams. I know Iowa doesn't have Caitlin Clark this year, but Illinois beat Iowa. Illinois went on the road this year and beat Indiana and Bloomington. They went on the road and beat a top 15 Maryland team. They gave UCLA all they could handle a few nights ago. Was a 4-point game to start the fourth quarter. And today they were actually beating Juju Watkins and USC, who's probably one of the most talented teams in the country, the 4th-ranked USC Trojans. They were beating them in midway through the third quarter. It took a big run and the size of USC to kind of like regain the momentum and keep it around a 10-point lead. Illinois was cutting into it. I think it was like 7 or 8 with like a minute left. And just to go into those environments where, those in women's hoops, man, like blowouts happen a lot more in women's hoops than it does men's hoops.
Yeah, any gambler will tell you that.
Yeah. What'd you say?
Any gambler will tell you that.
For sure. Yeah, it's just the blowout galore. And Illinois is hanging in there and staying in there and battling, and just all these coaches around the Big Ten and these commentators who they don't get to see Illinois a lot can't say anything but positive things about Shauna Green and how she has her team bought in, how they believe in each other, and how they never give up and they battle. And and the thing that excites me, Kevin, is her recruiting. She's got 5 stars coming next year. Barry Wall.
The challenge is going to be losing Bostic and McKenzie and Bryant along with Kyra Cook. It is. That'll be a challenge. But they'll get some other folks, Shea Bolin and
Shea Bolin.
Gretchen Bolin.
Gretchen Bolin's a baller who hasn't got to play much this year, but getting to see Corey Allen get her minutes. But really, Barry Wallace is going to be an amazing player before her career's over. Yeah, she's a freshman. She's a freshman, and she's really playing well. And it's great to see. And I think they've proved their mettle, their worth. I think they're going to win a first-round game this year, and I think they're going to give hell to whatever 1, 2, or 3 seed they play in the second round this year. And that's all we can really ask for the men's team. I know it's totally different in the sense of like one's an older team, one's a younger team, but to battle to have pride and to give a damn, right? To know you have to look yourself in the mirror every day for what you put out there. The women are doing a hell of a job.
Yeah, and they have something certainly the men's team doesn't have, and that's continuity and a leader, right? They got three leaders. They got three leaders: Mackenzie, Bryant, and Bostic. My girl Bostic, 16 rebounds today. I mean that'd be like a 6'7" guy getting 16 rebounds. So
yeah, that would be like that's old Reggie Evans from Iowa. Remember him?
Yeah, that's the kind of rebounding she's doing. It's pretty impressive. So
yeah.
No, and Sean is great, and I think comparison is the thief of joy. I don't understand why we always have to do the comparisons between her and Brad or whatever, but she's doing a phenomenal job. And every time I kind of defend Brad, people think I'm shitting on Shauna. I'm absolutely not. Shauna is by far and away the best basketball women's coach we've had at Illinois, and SDR says he thinks she can win national championships. I don't disagree. I wonder if it can happen at Illinois. I hope the resources are there for that to happen. So.
Yeah, I think
it'd be really cool.
I know this. Cool. I've looked up her contract with incentives and everything. She's making more than $1 million a year. So I mean, they're paying her. So let's not act like Illinois, like Josh Whitman undersold. Like she's underpaid.
And the other thing about her is like she's Sean Garner asked who the 5 stars are coming on. Destiny Jackson is one, and then there's another one.
Yeah, I'll get you all the info here. Give me a minute.
Yeah. The one thing about Shauna, I think she's better than Teresa Grants, Nathan. I really do. I think Teresa Grants did a heck of a job, but I think Shauna's better. I think the other thing I really like about Shauna is I love the way that she handles herself. She's pure class. She presents herself extremely well, and I think that matters. I think that'll help her and continue to help her in recruiting. So
here we go. The Illinois have a top 10 recruiting class for 2025. They're ranked 6th nationally at the moment. They have Destiny Jackson. She's a 5'6", 5'7" point guard from Whitney Young in Chicago.
Quicker than all get out.
Kara Parchment, a 6'2" forward from Fort Erie International Academy in Canada. She's a 4, borderline 5-star. She's a 4-star, though, for sure. Manuela Alves Fernandez, a 6'3" forward from IMG in Florida. Here, you notice the size here, everybody? Naomi Benson, a 6'2" wing from Streetsboro, Ohio. Erica Finney, a 6-foot guard from New South Wales, Australia. The class is ranked 7th nationally by ESPN Women. The Illini recruiting class considered a top 10 class, and the coaching staff landed 4 top 100 signees. So the biggest problem that Illinois had with this is Makira Cook and Genesis Bryant are both very tiny. They're adding tons of size to go with Barry Wallace.
Kendall Bostic is way undersized, and that's our starting center. So,
she's 6'1" and having to guard,
6'7" girls.
Their wings are 6'2" and 6'3" in this class. They have a 6'7" girl, Letty. Well, I forget her last name. She's Brazilian, and she's from like Portugal or somewhere. But she tore her ACL to start the year, or she might be Brazilian. And she would have helped this team immensely in the post, where Kendall could have played the 4. But she tore her ACL, and she'll be back next year. So,
dude, and here's the thing about Illinois women's recruiting. Illinois would have got Divine Barrage. She's number 12 player in the country out of Davenport, North Iowa. Our good friend Kedrick knows all about this. LSU just threw her a bag that, like, frankly, unless you're selling out your arena for, we just didn't have the resources to compete.
Letty's playing next year for Illinois. She just tore her ACL this year. That's it.
Yeah, this year, she'll be there.
So again, I'm not worried about the women's program. I think, as I've told Kedrick, the dude's a guru. He knows it all. The staff loves him. His daughter obviously could have played D1 basketball, so he's invested in women's basketball more than anybody else who covers Illinois.
Now let's get volleyball fixed.
Yes, we need to get volleyball fixed for sure. Making the tournaments cool every year, but I remember when making a Sweet 16 was the bar. Like, that was like the low. It's like, we just made the Sweet 16 this year.
Yeah, the women's volleyball program was arguably the best athletic program, one of them on campus when I was growing up. So that's all right.
Now we'll get to final thoughts, Kev. Hopefully we haven't taken all of yours with everything. I'm sure there's other things to discuss and talk about. And hell, again, we don't always have to talk sports with final thoughts either. You know, like you can talk about anything. So hopefully I didn't take yours. I can go first, however you want to go, Kev. What do you want to do?
Go ahead, man. Fire it off.
All right. So I'm just gonna stick more of about the show and so I'll go with that. We appreciate everybody who watches this show. If you have not subscribed on YouTube, please do. We're trying to build that. We're working on doing a sponsor. Working on getting a sponsor.
Yeah, this could be your business's brown bag on my head.
So. Yeah, we might start doing that. Yeah. If Illinois doesn't make the tournament this year, Kev might actually do a whole show with the bag on his head.
Yeah, I'll do cut the eyes out and stuff. So
yeah, so keep the YouTube chain going, you guys. Keep passing it along to people you know of. Like we get tons of views on X. Like we get 2,000 to 3,000 people watch the replays on X. We're trying to build the YouTube the channel up to 1,000. We're at 800 and some now. We've kind of stagnated there, but we are streaming live on there. So we appreciate that. Keep following on YouTube. We appreciate all the retweets, everybody who does watch every week. Like it's a fun thing, Kev. We get so many interactions with people. Like it's a hot thing, and I'm glad the show is that. But just keep the following and the love on YouTube. And for my last thing about the basketball, I'll say about the men's basketball program is if a down year for Illinois is making the NCAA tournament, I'm okay with that. But that's not going to be the norm, just making the tournament. I personally think things are going to be okay in the offseason with getting a third assistant. You never know what could happen with Jeremiah Fears. Jeremiah Fears still could come to Illinois. We don't know that right now. I don't believe that they're just going to say, well, this year didn't work out. We just made the tournament. We got a couple guys going pro. Oh, we're just going to play young. We're just going to go young from now on. You saw Underwood adjust a couple years ago when they had a similar season, and what happened last year with Damask and Shannon. They're going to get older next year. They've got to. So don't throw in the towel yet. The people who don't believe in Brad, it's okay. You don't have to. But don't think that this program is a sinking ship. Yeah, there's a bunch of – look at North Carolina, for goodness sake. There's a bunch of other issues out here with other programs that's not where Illinois is at. For goodness sake, Purdue just lost 4 in a row. It's not just Illinois. But if you're making the tournament, remember where this program was 10 years ago and try to take a step back a little bit. It could be way worse. Let's see how the offseason plays out.
$5 Tommy Boy with the comment of the day. Oh, that's funny. If Jeremiah Fears is staying in college, I love Illinois' chances. So I really do.
Say that again.
If Jeremiah Fears stays in college,
like his dad saying he is, yeah.
No, he ain't coming back to Oklahoma. I can tell you that. That's Porter Moser is going to get fired, man. The seat's hot down here. Seat is hot. They're probably not going to make the tournament. So, here's the thing. All right, guys, a couple things. Ryan and I have been doing this for a couple of years now. We do it for free. We spend a lot of our time and our energy and our effort in it because we love talking Illinois sports and we love you guys. Let's try to be friendlier on Twitter, man. Like if I disagree with you about something, I know I can be a jerk sometimes. Just we all want Illinois to win. I guarantee if we were getting a beer together, like we'd just disagree, And so I'm just saying in the social media atmosphere, it's like we all bleed orange and blue. Let's act like it.
Know it all, Sleeve.
Yeah, Sleeve, I agree, but I've heard things that he's slipping. He has not performed as well as he has.
I don't think he is going to be lottery, Sleeve. We can make a $10 bet on it. So we'll talk later.
His draft stock is slipping, so we'll see. I think the kid's pretty special, so it'd be nice to have him.
But finish your point of are people attacking you, Kev? Is that what you're saying?
No, man. I just it's just every time somebody's like, "Oh, Deuce is going to say something great about Ben Rickhouse," man, I pull for our guys, dude. I'm always going to pull for. I don't really crap on the players, dude. It's just not what I do. So, Oh, he had a big one against Mississippi State. Right on. Cool.
Yeah, they won, and that's great, but that doesn't change anything. Like, you can have good games. It doesn't mean, oh, he had a really good game. Oh, but he's back in the lottery. Like, I'm telling you, he's not going to be a lottery pick.
He's just right outside the lottery right now, so we'll see.
All these
it'd be great for the kid if he gets it.
Yeah, if he does, he does. I'm also going off what his dad's saying to telling people behind closed doors as well. So, there's a lot of that going on. But at least, Kev, for your perspective, I know it sucks to be that. I just guess I've just gotten so used to it, dude. Yeah. Over the, it's like, it's probably unfair, but it's like I'm just so used to it that like the year after I joined X and I started making my predictions, then I started getting attacked by 247 and their groupies. And then it was like the worst moment of your life. Let's talk about it every day. So I got used to that for the last 8 to 9 years where it's like I just let it roll off my skin.
No, Tim Anderson's not coming back. He is I don't know if he'll come back to coaching. I heard he might stick with his developmental program.
He's a good enough coach. He has enough recruiting connections. He could get a D1 job next year. So
and Pat Bryant's got the combine this week. That's pretty good. The guys, the number for Pat Bryant's going to be 4.5. Closer, if he can get like that 4.52, 4.48 range, it'll be golden. So
yep, it is. It's the Illinois fan base. It's not just vitriol at me or Kev. It's at Ked. It's at each. There's so much bickering amongst the Illini fan base. Like I see the national perception of like we're crazy, blah blah blah. We're crazy about winning and success, but I will agree that there's just so much like nastiness at each other. Like it like we're just doing a podcast here. It doesn't matter if you disagree with me or not. Okay, that's cool. But why do you need to get personal? Like and talk about my life or or just post a mugshot or something. Like what does that have to do with I think
the subject at hand.
I think what does it have to do with I think KJ is still a really good point guard and you guys think he's not. Well, I'm confused. Anyway, so
we need him to play better to be better. We need a lot of guys. We need Tommy and Will and KJ to step up this week. I know people said Boswell's non-existent. I thought that guy was pretty tough, especially the second half. I thought he played with some heart. I thought he blew his leg out, by the way, didn't you?
Yeah.
I thought he was done, dude. I thought he was toast, man.
Hey, Jay Bagan, right there, baby. That's how we're going to end this. Right here.
I almost called Jay and said, "Hey, man, you got the show tonight because I don't want to do
it." I had to like beg him, man. No, he didn't.
Illini fans versus Illini.
The greatest rivalry in sports.
What's up, Josh? Appreciate you, brother.
Yeah, we're gonna channel that night. Here's my channeling right there. Illinois is gonna win Tuesday night. There we go.
Let's go. Hey, I still hate them more than anybody.
That's right.
In Missouri.
Yeah. That's right. We need that DeMonte Williams, McCaffrey face to face.
Dude, there's only one guy on this team right now. The way that they're playing, that I'd be afraid to fight, and that's Merez Johnson. Like we need somebody who's going to be. We need somebody with some red ass. Somebody who's ready to knock somebody's teeth out. We need somebody.
I'm gonna say this, dude. Merez, I love that like cast he's got. Did you see it? It's like it doesn't even look like anything you've ever seen. It's like a web that you can see through.
I mean, when the announcers talked about Con Knippel as the guy on Duke that everybody was afraid to fight, like that was like their toughest guy. I was like, Ben Rickhouse, why can't you have more of that? Like, huh?
Yeah.
They're kind of built similar.
I'll be honest. I think Ben Humrickhouse is just too sweet and too nice of a guy to have that nasty in him. I really do believe that. And it has nothing to do with his Christianity. Like when you hear him talk and you see how he isn't that guy that we had. Those recruits that we come on here where they're like, you can flip that switch, Kev?
Yep.
Ben Humrickhouse doesn't have that.
No.
He's out there playing like, bless your heart. Did I step on your foot? Like, hey, dude, I did not mean to trip you. Yeah. I just want you to know I didn't mean it. It's like, dude, you're out there competing, man. These guys would put a bow through your skull to get that loose ball, dude. Like, don't be apologizing because you tripped a guy. Like
he needed to go back and play against dudes I played in when I used to play at Thornburn with the chain nets in her band, playing against 30-year-old black men and always leave with a bloody nose and a fat lip. Like he needed to go play with those guys.
If Brad needs to get the best out of Ben, I think he needs to channel that this week in practice of like, when you see you hit a 3 in a guy's face, let him know about it once in a while. It's all right. Yeah. Anyway.
Hey, man, I got to go. Love y'all.